Hi, everyone, and welcome back to AI in Focus, the podcast where we dive into real conversations about how AI is being used in the business world, what's working, what's not, and what's next. Today, we are joined by Michael, a tech visionary who started coding at the age of 11 and founded his first company at 16. With over 26 years in software and automation, Michael built a multimillion-dollar enterprise venture before pivoting into crypto and blockchain. As a founder of Breakout Solutions, he now designs AI-powered investment strategies aimed at freeing people from outdated financial systems. Having already helped hundreds generate millions in profit, Michael is on a mission to guide 1 million individuals toward financial independence by 2032. He's also been in the spotlight recently, delivering keynotes and leading masterclasses on how AI and blockchain can transform wealth creation. Let's dive in and explore where technology meets financial empowerment. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very good.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on to learn all about blockchain, crypto, which I don't understand at all. I've tried my best, but I do not understand that. So probably I might get some insights and start learning about crypto. The podcast is very smooth. I'll read questions to you and you can answer based on your journey and what you have been doing. Cool. It's really, while I was actually introducing you, you started at 11. So that's a bit too much for me. So let me read a question for you. Michael, take us back to the beginning. You started coding at the age 11 and launched your first company at 16. What sparked your passion for technology so early on?
It's a good question, actually. It's taken me back a little while now, isn't it? I was always a bit of a geek in school. I loved maths and later on physics and stuff like that. So the whole concept of, ones and zeros and computer code where everything was kind of discrete and formulaic really resonated with me from a young age. But I probably have my brother to thank for that because he was probably about 9 years older than me, or still is obviously. And he was massively into tech, computers, all the rest of it. And I always wanted to be like him. I think he was always better than me at everything because he was older than me, right? I could never beat him in anything. He was quite competitive. And I think that's where I got a lot of my competitive spirit from as well. I just was watching him with computers and everything from a very early age. And back in the day, I was using something called Mirc, M-I-R-C, which was like a chat app, and you could program in that. And so I just started dabbling. I think I was like 8 or 9 or something when I was like, oh, what's this programming stuff? And yeah, so at 11, I think I was releasing my first kind of scripts and everything on Mirc, and everything just grew from there, essentially. Yeah.
Oh, so Mirc is a kind of a software where you release your code?
Oh, it was a chat application. So can you imagine WhatsApp or something, but like 30 years ago.
Wow.
Right. So yeah, it was before. Most people these days wouldn't even know about it unless they're my age or above. But you could write scripts in there. So, when people would join channels, you could, boot them out and do quizzes and surveys and all this kind of stuff. So it was just where I started coding.
So it was your brother who inspired you?
My brother definitely inspired me.
He still inspires you?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's now runs all the servers and the computers at Parliament House in Canberra. That's where I originally grew up. So he's a very smart guy. He didn't go so much into the business world though.
Okay.
That's what he did start, but didn't work out for him.
Okay.
And so I think that inspired me to want to give it a try, and that's probably why I started.
And you enjoy being in business?
Geez, it's been a roller coaster. Yeah. I mean, when I started, 26, 27 years ago and growing up in Canberra, which is a public service town, there wasn't much support there for business owners. So I was just, this is why I love Hard Knocks Association with Michael, because I grew up in the school of hard knocks when it came to business, right? That's what I always talk about, is I learned a lot of lessons. I learned a lot of hard lessons through business starting at such a young age.
Yes.
But I did exit that company that I started at 16, building and fixing computers. I exited that at 19. That was my first exit, to who became my business partner and still is a close friend of mine to today. So I had some success early on. And then I went on to university where I built a software product, which then turned into my next venture. So I don't know whether we want to talk too much about that, but it's been a
journey.
It's been a big journey. I mean, well, let me close off on that loop. That product was a product called easyemployer.com, and we exited that a couple of years ago. That was the challenging journey. That was the one that I grew from my parents' basement up to 30 staff. And it nearly took everything away from me. Actually, there's a period of time there. Which you might ask some questions through the interview about my journey, so maybe I'll save that for that. Okay. But it's been an up and down journey, but I'm very I'm very glad that I have done it, because the skills and experience and the knowledge and the real world knowledge that I've accumulated over those 26 years is really what's put me in a place now to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah, maybe I think it's the success and the failures that makes us grow to where it takes us to in business. And always, business is not easy. It's always challenging. We also run our AI business, and it's always, every day is a challenge to run the business. There's always ups and downs. And you started on at a very, very early age. So I'm sure you have a lot of insights on that. So you have successfully built enterprise-grade software, as you just mentioned, and now lead a mission-driven venture in digital assets. What was the turning point that made you shift from traditional tech to financial freedom and blockchain innovation?
Okay, so that's a big question for me. It was 2017, and I was we'd borrowed money from against my family's properties to scale Easy Employer. Right, I call it the triple Fs. Have you heard of the triple Fs?
No.
Friends, families, and fools.
Oh. Friends, families, and
fools.
Fools.
So it's a bit of a joke to say that, your family will lend you money. My parents, you believe they could sell ice to Eskimos. So, they were happy to lend me money against, mortgaged against the family mortgage to grow Easy Employer. And so we'd taken on a whole bunch of money, and it wasn't working out exactly as I'd anticipated. We were burning through our cash. We were running out of runway. I also wasn't living a particularly healthy life back then as well. And it was actually 2017, and I saw all my mates making a lot of money in crypto. And I thought, hang on a minute, you guys know nothing about software, you know nothing about business, you don't know how to read code, you don't know how to test it, you don't know any of that, and you're making money. Okay, well, maybe I can do really well. And so it was out of necessity of trying to find a solution for not actually being able to manage my company at that particular time, and looking for ways to manage the debt that we were in. I went in, I turned 15,000 into $500,000 in 3 months.
Wow.
And I thought, I'm a genius. That's the first thing I thought. I thought, how good am I? Like, this is great. I just got to do this for another few months, maybe another 6 months, and I'll be able to pay off all the debt and everything. Didn't pan out that way. January 2018, I'll never forget. I was on a beach with my family in Wollongong on my computer, going, "How good's this? I got a $550,000 portfolio. This is amazing." And that was the top of the market. So the market proceeded to crash. And literally within 6 months, I'd lost all the profits I'd made. I had taken my risk capital out, and that was a massive hit to me. So not just to the bank account, but my ego. So I went back to my business, and it was really struggling. And that's when all the massive challenges started. It got to a point where the story, I won't tell you the vivid story here, but it got to a point where I didn't see a way out. And I actually went through all my insurance papers to find a way out. That was in 2018. I wasn't religious. I'm still am. I'm still aren't. I'm spiritual, but I prayed for someone to help me. I had a mental and physical breakdown. It was the hardest point in time in my life. Then I completely had to rebuild myself. Did a charity bike ride through Thailand. It inspired me to want to do something else. And I didn't know what that was. I still was investing in crypto in 2008, 19, 20. And it wasn't until my portfolio went another 25x in 2020 when I realized it was under my nose the whole time. And it was like, hang on a minute, this is a vehicle that I know a lot about that I can actually leverage to help others. And that's when I founded Breakout Solutions at the end of 2020. Our first portfolio went 13x in 6 months. And I realized, okay, well, we're onto something here. And so then we've just been building up from there. So I kind of stumbled into it by accident and realized that it's actually the perfect intersection of all the skills and experience that I've had And that's why I've decided to stick to it. And finally now, 5 or 6 years later, the world is waking up to the benefits.
Yes.
So, I think we're really well positioned in that regard.
So you went completely broke within a year?
I wouldn't say we still had some runway left on the business.
On that, yes.
But it was very quickly disappearing. And so I initially turned to crypto to try and make some more money to give us more runway, and that didn't work out. Look, everyone rallied around me, everyone stepped up, people came in to help, and we got through that. And 3-4 years later, we successfully exited the company. So it had a good finish,
yes.
But it was a very tough period in time.
So I like that story, because every business, I'm sure anyone I go talk to will have some kind of a story like that of a failure, and you overcome that, and then you are a successful businessman who started Breakout Solutions. At this point, can you give our audience something where whoever is running their business or planning to run their business, I'm sure there's going to be failure. How did you keep yourself, or I'm sure you had a breakdown for yourself, but how did you come up thinking, no, it's okay, I need to move on, and there is still life ahead of me? What did you think? What did you do?
Yeah, well, I had so much on the line. I had no choice to step up. Like, I had, millions of dollars against my family's properties on the line. So that's a pretty good incentive to get your ass out and start to rebuild. It wasn't even really, it was rebuilding myself, so that I could become the person, the leader, to actually come back into the business and successfully take it forward. In the end, I ended up putting someone else in charge of the business, because I realized that I no longer had a passion for workforce management, and my passion was in the blockchain and crypto space. So, that was the best decision ever, because someone, another person came in that was able to take the business, kind of clean things up, take it to the next level, and prepare it for exit, which was always what the plan was. Look, you said it before. I mean, failure just builds you up. You take those lessons, and it's all about your mindset.
Yeah.
If you can look at that as a learning and not a failure, because it's only failure if you don't get up again.
Yes.
Right? If you get up again, you take that on board, you look at what you can take out of it that you can implement moving forward, then every time that happens, it's a stepping stone. So now when things go wrong, or, when I feel like I've failed at something, I don't see it as failure. I see it as a learning opportunity. And it's like, okay, this is great. What can I learn from this? What can I take out of it? How can I mentor the team, or, my staff, or even our members to be able to take them to the next level as well? So it's all a stepping stone. It's only if you choose to go, you know what, I'm done, then maybe it's failure. But then again, not everything's supposed to survive as well.
Yeah, of course, yes.
So if you're no longer passionate, if you don't believe in it, if you really don't feel inside that it's the right thing, then there's no harm in just saying, you know what, I'm going to try something else.
I think what I would like to say to the audience is 2 things that I learned from here, which even we follow it, is when you're in the business, I think it's best to do what you like to do, whether it's technology, whether it's business. And what you cannot do is to grow the business or be in maybe doing the accounting or doing the business development. Hire someone or let someone else do that, and you do what you are passionate about. That takes your business to the next level always. Secondly, businesses are here, and you always sometimes make wrong decisions. You might fail. It's about, if you're still passionate, get up and look for next thing and keep doing it. Still, if you think, no, I don't think I can do it, stop it and move to what you like.
No, I love that. And one thing I just want to add to that as well is, so there's 3 things that I talk about is, what are you good at? What do you love doing? And what does the world need?
Yes.
Right. And so that can be if you want to start a new business, or it can be within your current business. What do you love doing? What are you good at? And we do this through all of our staff, like through all of our companies, because I'm involved in 8 different companies and projects now. So all of them are very similar. It's okay, well, what do you love doing? What are you good at? And does the business need it? Or can we use it? And then if you can put someone in that place, whether it's yourself or someone else, that's when they really thrive, right? So if you're in a business or a job or whatever where those 3 things are not there, then I would encourage you to find something that you're good at, that you love doing, that you think someone else can benefit from, and give it a crack. Don't quit your job and do it. Just do it on the side, build it up. And then if you can start monetizing it, then you can start to plan your exit.
That's actually really good. Whether you're in business or in job, everywhere it does matter that. So probably this is a question for me. For someone completely new to this space, crypto, blockchain, how would you explain blockchain in simple terms so that anyone listening can really get what it is and why it matters?
Okay. So if I was to come up to you in real life and we wanted to execute a transaction, right? I could use cash, for example, right? So I'm dealing with myself to you and say, okay, well, I want to buy something from you. I want some value exchange. Here's some money directly from me to you, and I get something back. Okay. All it is being able to do that online without having to rely on any central intermediary or any bank organization in the middle.
Okay.
Okay. So it's what's known as a peer-to-peer value exchange system, if you will. Okay. So, and that's very important because these days we talk about the financial matrix, which is a financial system that is set up at its core to benefit the people at the top, right? It's everyone is just working away. They're working their job, generating money. Inflation's eating away at their wealth. And so we have to deal with platforms everywhere. And there's platforms, there's tax, there's fees, and there's all the rest of it. So why it's important is because those platforms have a huge amount of power, right? And this is talked about with big tech as well. So blockchain is a way to take some of that back and give it back to the people so that we can undertake, whether it's financial activities or other type of activities, directly between each individual person without having to rely on a big organization or a big company or a big bank or government to actually, centralize that service. Okay, so that's really the key benefit. At its core, that's what it is. But there's a lot more to it. It's financial sovereignty is something that's big for us, and that's about. We talk about helping people become financially sovereign. Is two things for me. It's about achieving financial freedom, which is having enough money to do what you want with your life, okay? And sovereignty is about having control over that money so that no one can take it away from you. No bank, government, or anyone else can confiscate that. Now, in this day and age, especially in the Western world, these things aren't a big deal. But the way that some of these banks and governments are going, there's more and more control that's being pushed, onto us as individuals. And the ability to be able to control your own wealth and have sovereignty over that, I think may become very, very important.
Okay.
So tools like Bitcoin specifically is fantastic for controlling, holding, and maintaining your storing your wealth over time. Yeah. I think it's an asset. It's an asset class of itself. It's very different to crypto. So everyone thinks Bitcoin is crypto. It's not the way that I teach it. Yeah, you got Bitcoin and you got crypto.
It's two different things.
In the way that I like people to understand it, it's two very different things. Bitcoin is its own asset class. It's there's no CEO, there's no company, there's no marketing team, no sales team. There's no one that controls that. There's no one that can control it. So it's completely decentralized. It's the strongest decentralized computing network in the world, right? So there's a lot of things that do back that up. That is its own asset class. It's a store of wealth longer term. Everything else has all different use cases. 99% of it's garbage. And even most of it is not going to survive. Whereas in my view, Bitcoin is the only thing that will survive. So Bitcoin is the main thing that I think everyone should hold as an asset. Okay. And everything else you can make money from, but not necessarily build wealth longer term. That makes sense. So,
and that's crypto.
Yeah, that's crypto. So crypto is like, people think all of crypto is just gambling, right? There's a lot of speculation in the space. Like, I'm not going to lie. And there's a lot of stuff that people do gamble on that doesn't work out. The way that we teach it is we look for the 0.1% of the projects that are actually going to change their industries. And they're the ones that we find through our research service and our members get access to. A lot of the rest of it is just junk,
So I learned that blockchain is very different to Bitcoin, is very different to crypto. I thought they do the same.
That's all right. No, but a lot of people do. Yes. And Bitcoin, you could argue, is a form of a cryptocurrency. It's actually not really, it's cryptographic at all. But we won't go into the technicals. I just like to teach it that way because people are missing out on the longer term wealth preservation opportunity of Bitcoin by putting it in the same bucket as gambling casinos.
Oh, okay.
And that's why they're two very different things. I call them two different asset classes.
Okay.
You could say the asset class is digital assets, and then Bitcoin is like one subset of that, and the rest of crypto is another subset of that. It's probably the best way to articulate it. And then educate, for those that are watching, take that premise and then go and do education on those as two different buckets. And then I think they'll lead you down two very different paths.
Okay. I thought they're all same, probably different language. Someone uses Bitcoin, someone uses crypto. So good to understand they're two different things.
Glad we got that point across. Yes.
I've understood. I'm sure the audiences will understand because I'm poor at accounting.
That's okay. Let me throw another analogy at you, actually. So all transactions, if I just speak about Bitcoin now, but the rest of the coins and tokens are very similar. All transactions are visible all the way back to inception. So you can log on, you can see every single Bitcoin transaction that's ever happened. So everything's transparent. Nothing can be reversed. Nothing can be changed. So you can't have, bailouts and all these different things. So the way to think about that, the analogy that I use for that is just imagine a massive Excel spreadsheet with all of the transactions that have ever happened in Bitcoin since 2009. So everyone can see it, everyone can search it, everyone can access it. So it can't be cheated, hacked, anything like that. So it's 100% transparency.
Okay. Yep.
Bitcoin doesn't care what's happening in the world. Every 10 minutes, a new block is what's known as mined. Transactions just tick over, and it just happens no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what the governments are doing, no matter who the president is. It just right. So this is why and because it's such a strong store of value, because it can't be hacked, cheated, and it only has 21 million coins. It's seen as a great platform to build a financial system on top of it. And that's where a lot of the innovation now is in that space, is now building stuff on top of Bitcoin. Okay. But it's still very early stage. So a lot of the stuff we do in decentralized finance, which we can talk about if you like, is more on other chains, other networks. But ultimately, you want to build a financial system on the most stablest, strongest form of money you can. And that's what Bitcoin is in my view. It's just the next evolution of money. I mean, if you go back millions of years ago, we started off with like seashells and stuff like that.
Yes.
Then we went to like, obviously gold's been great. Then it's like, credit cards, digital money. Bitcoin is like just the next evolution of money. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting to know that. As you just mentioned about financial metrics, you often talk about unplugging from the financial metrics. What does that mean to you? And why do you think so many people still struggle to break free of the conventional money system?
So we've been conditioned to accept the current financial system, right? So as I mentioned before, it's a system that's been built with a whole bunch of different layers and technologies that is controlled, in my belief system, controlled and manipulated by certain groups at the top, okay? So, and tools like, tax, inflation, these types of tools, they're designed to kind of drain people's wealth without them even noticing that it's happening and moving it up the chain. So it's actually designed to keep everyone trapped or everyone in the middle of it. And with all the money printing that's been going on, a lot of people work up to that since COVID. It's been going on since 2008. All of this increases the money supply, which makes everything more expensive and basically devalues the value of a dollar. And that's all by design, because to manage all the debt, the only way that the governments and banks can do that is they've got to reduce the value of the dollar. So the debts become worth less, right? But that means everyone else, if they're not a very effective investor, are losing out. All right, because you might have $100 bill here, right? But in another 3 or 4 years, that might only be worth $50 or $60 in purchasing power.
Yes,
I'm still holding the same $100 bill, but it now only buys me $50 or $60 worth of stuff. No one notices it because they still think they've got the $100 bill.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people are trapped in that system, right? They're working their jobs. Their pay rises are not happening at the pace of real inflation. You know what they tell you what it is. And so they're kind of stuck in the middle. And that's why we talk about, if you want to try and exit that system, you have to become an effective investor. And you really got to be earning at least 10% a year on your money at the moment. So people that are in the S&P 500, the US stock market, that's earning like between 7 and 10% a year. If you have a look, it's been going up at the same rate of the US dollars money supply since, especially since 2020. So you might think you're getting ahead 7 to 10% per year, but you're actually going nowhere. Yeah. So, even people in property are earning 7, 8% a year and stuff like that. You're actually not going anywhere. So it's really important. You have to be growing your wealth by more than 10%, ideally more than 15%, to actually be getting ahead. And so if you're not investing at all, well, not only are you not keeping up with the 10%, if you're in property or S&P, you're falling behind. You're falling behind by 10 to 15% a year.
Okay.
And so if you're not earning at least 10% more in your wage every year, which is not CPI, then you're actually losing pace. Yeah. So that's why a lot of people are kind of stuck at the middle. And that's our whole mission, is to help people, break out of that system and start creating wealth in a system that is fairer, more equitable, and in such a way that they can control that wealth as well, and they can choose what they want to do with it. See, right now I can go and take a loan out against my Bitcoin, go and invest it. I can take a loan against my Bitcoin and go and buy property.
Okay.
Right. So there's a lot of things you can already do using Bitcoin as an asset.
Okay.
And there's only going to be more and more in the future. So the game for me is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can, because it's going to be a reserve asset that you'll be able to leverage. And then we have strategies I'm sure we'll talk about, like our AI trading bot, which is, it's doing over 100% a year at the moment, right? So then taking some of that and, living from that or buying some more Bitcoin. So it's all about having another option. And ideally you can do this concurrently to whatever you're doing now. Yeah. Does that help?
Yes, it does. But I'm very curious. I have a question that I want to ask while you were saying that. Australia is completely into property investment market.
It's massive here.
Massive. What do you think we are still in investing, or people who want to start investing? What do you think? Is it still property or?
Well, I'm going to have a biased answer to this, right?
Yes.
And to preface it, I don't own any property as yet. And people say, if you're making so much money, why don't you own property? My opportunity cost to owning property right now is way too high.
Okay.
So let me give you an example, because we actually have a strategy that I believe kind of mimics the new property type investing. So property is just a physical asset. Bitcoin is just a digital asset. They're both assets. They both have scarcity inbuilt. So property is land and Bitcoin is capped at 21 million. So why can't you apply the same strategies in property that you can with this, which is a much faster growing asset, right? And that's basically what we've released. So just on property first, look, I know lots of people that are super wealthy from property, right? So I'm not gonna diss it. I'm not gonna talk about something that I don't know because I haven't done it, right? But I know enough about it, and I know enough people doing it, and buyers agents and mortgage brokers and all the rest of it that I understand how it works. I think over the last 20 or 30 years, it's been incredible. And I think if you got in 20, 30 years ago, you've had generational wealth. It's very saturated now. It's very saturated. Everyone's trying to do it. And so there's less and less opportunities. This will happen in Bitcoin one day as well.
Yes.
But right now we're still so early on in the like the early adopter phase, not even the early majority. I think we're just going into early majority. That opportunity is where it is over the next 10, 20 years, in my view. So one of the strategies that we talk about with our members, and anything that I talk about is not financial advice as well. All right. We just provide research and education to our members. They go and get their own advice, and they go and utilize some of the tools that we give. But like I mentioned before, so in property, it's about, you got to find, 100 to 150,000 typically, maybe a little bit less to get a deposit on your first house. And then you go do that, you get a mortgage, you rent it out, you get passive income, etc. You go and replicate that. Well, you can do that inside with digital assets now. You can take your Bitcoin as collateral. You can borrow against that. For our members, they're putting into the trading bot. And so they're generating 25 to 35% annually using their Bitcoin as collateral, whereas property is like, I think, 7 or 8% maybe. And Bitcoin's growing at 5 to 10 times faster than what property is.
Yes.
So it's growing a lot faster, which means there's more equity growth, which means there's more opportunity to borrow against it and keep going. So we've effectively given a range of tools and strategies to our members where they can replicate a property strategy, which is well proven, in a much faster growing asset class, and starting with as little as $10,000 or $15,000. So that's where I think the growth is over the next 10 to 20 years.
So you can still invest in property because, of course, if someone likes investing in property, but I would say at the same time, it's best to invest in crypto, in Bitcoin as well.
Let me correct that statement. I wouldn't say it's best to invest. I would say having a diversified portfolio is where it's at. So if all you're in is property, having some diversification a little bit into digital assets, I think makes sense. And if you're someone like me, where you're really heavily in digital assets, having some diversification back into property is also smart, right? Because property is lower risk.
Yeah.
So that's basically what my next journey is going to be. Once I think the digital asset market has kind of boomed and it starts to flatten out, that's when it's going to be the time to then start to move some of my wealth back into property so that I can have a better level of diversification. So I don't think one's necessarily better than the other. Or you shouldn't necessarily choose one over the other. Ideally, if you can do both. The thing with properties, it's a lot more complicated. You might need a lot more money to start. You got to deal with, banks and agents and lawyers and all this kind of stuff. There's not a lot of that. None of that red tape exists in digital assets. So if someone doesn't have a lot of money or can't borrow a lot of money to start with, maybe digital assets is a good place to start. But otherwise, I think diversification is always where it's at.
So it's always the diversification between the property market and Bitcoin.
And stocks and gold, precious metals. You know, you want to be diversified because as much as, you know, someone like me or someone in property, anyone can say, oh, this is great and this is how things are going to be over the next 5 or 10 years. No one actually knows what's going to happen over the next 5 or 10 years.
Oh, of course not.
So being in different assets and having your wealth diversified puts you in the best position to be resilient in different economies. Maybe you're not going to get as much growth as someone that's just all into crypto or all into property.
Oh, no. Always. Definitely. Definitely not just in one direction. Probably, it's good to diversify your assets in different directions. Probably is a good idea.
And I say the same thing to business owners, right? So most business owners, their business is their plan A, B, and Z. It's everything.
Yes.
Right? And look at where I came from. I borrowed money against my family's properties, a stable asset to grow the business, and I thought I was going to lose everything, right? So that's super risky. But if, you know, I do take risks, and if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. I'm not saying that's the right for everyone. But as a business owner, if you're able to then take some of your wealth and diversify into other assets as well, whether that's property, you know, Bitcoin, stock shares, whatever, I also think that's a smart game. It's also about when you choose to do that, because like people, often business owners will come to me and say, well, hey, should I start investing in Bitcoin and the bot and stuff like that now? And I say, well, have you maximized your business opportunity? If you've got some spare funds, are you reinvesting that back into marketing and sales? Are you growing at the rate you should be? And if they're not, I just suggest, look, I think you should reinvest into your business first. But some people come to me and their business is kind of plateaued a little bit and they've got a whole bunch of cash sitting there. I'm like, well, you better do something with it because it's losing 10 to 15% a year. So it really depends on where you're at.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So where do you see AI and automation already making a real difference in digital wealth creation, both in your workflows and in client outcomes?
Okay, so we're using AI in a few different ways inside the business. So like a lot of people are doing within the business, automating processes, we do a lot of our content generation, marketing, ads. So that's the first application. The second one is we're building software with it. So that's my background. Yeah. And it's been awesome because there's some awesome tools out there now where I can build my own software without even needing a team. Yes. It's fantastic. So it's reignited my love for software creation because going through that journey with Easy Employer was very tough and it did leave some trauma. So the tools now are allowing me to heal that and have fun with software again. So we've created our first app. It's called the Freedom Planner. It's one that we use in our workshops. It leverages 6 expertly trained AIs and a 12-step process to help people create a blueprint to wealth faster than they thought was possible. It's an amazing workshop. We've done it a few times. Did it on the weekend. Had some awesome feedback. Nice. The next app that we're creating is called Freedom Finance. So we're creating like your ultimate personal finance assistant on your phone. So it pulls in all your transactions, categorize everything, where you're spending money, helps you with budget, savings goals. And so we're going to start to wrap in some digital asset wealth creation into that app as we go as well. So that's some applications on how we're doing it. In terms of what some of our members are experiencing. So they're already leveraging the Freedom Planner and the AI planning tools in there. The biggest thing I think for us at the moment and what we're being most well known for the last kind of 9 to 12 months is how we're using AI in it's called the AI trading bot and how it's actually trading the markets. This is the best example that we have. Like it's a tangible example. So it's an algorithm that's been trained up on 7 years of market data and it was live tested over 4 years. We've been leveraging the algorithm for about 20 months and our members for about 11 months. So it's had no losing months in the last 20 months and it averages between, currently we update it every month for the last year, but it's averaging between, I think it's 6.2 and 10.4% per month at the moment.
Wow.
And it can go as low as 2, the highest month's been like 23% in 1 month. That's obviously an outlier. And the cool thing about this is once it's set up, it just runs. You can literally walk away from it for 12 months and not even have to look at it.
And it does the job for you.
And it just runs. It just runs and makes the 7 to 10% per month. Just ticks along. So that's a game changer. So
your members are using it?
Yeah. So all our members are leveraging that now. We got some amazing case studies out of that. There's one guy who's generating 10 grand a month on average as passive income. So he's now taking that as an income to subsidize his business business income. Someone else has, I talked about that Bitcoin lending strategy.
Yes.
There's another member that had a bunch of Bitcoin. He's leveraging that. I think he's generating 11 or 12K a month as well. So this is really the big one. This is what everyone's talking about us for at the moment. We've got so many different strategies, but this is the one that's very powerful. So that's using AI, and it's trading the volatility of the crypto market, but without that volatility risk on your capital. So one of the biggest misconceptions in crypto is that you've got to buy something low, you've got to sell it high, and there's a risk if it goes down, you're going to lose money. All right, that's a traditional way people have made money in crypto. With this strategy, your money stays in a stable coin called USDT, which is like US dollars. And so if a market crashes 50% overnight, you don't lose any value on your capital. That's one benefit. The second thing is the AI trading bot can make money in both directions. And now it doesn't make money every time the market moves in both directions, but it can. So I'll give you a really good recent example. Last month, the bot did 13.21%. Bitcoin was down 6.67%.
Oh, okay.
So Bitcoin had gone down and the bot made 13.21%. That's a lot.
Yes.
That's more than most people make in a year.
Yes.
So it had a really good month, basically, and Bitcoin didn't have a great month. So that's the power of it, is it can actually make money in both directions. And it's not had a losing month in the last kind of 20 months. So that's the most impactful, tangible results of that. But there's the next step that we're looking at building is actually an AI wealth manager app, right? So the idea is it takes what your plan is on where you are now, where you want to get to, what's the gap, how much money you have, whatever, it takes as an input. By the way, that first part is what we do in the workshop. So people walk away with an actual plan. Like yesterday, they downloaded their PDF with a plan on what they need to do, all the mindset shifts, all the different principles they're going to do, how they're going to need to invest to get to wealth faster. So the idea is this will come into an app, and the app will actually manage your portfolio automatically for you with a whole bunch of different strategies over here.
Okay.
So we got something called mirror portfolios. We do Bitcoin mining, tokenized real estate.
Wow.
We've tokenized a cannabis farm in Thailand. It's all legal and it's all medicinal. The AI trading bot. So we're building all the tokenized strategies over here, and we're also now building the AI in the middle. So the whole concept is, everyone's using AI to run and automate everything else. Why can't we automate our own portfolios? So this is coming. We're just going to be one of the people that are doing it, but we're doing it quite unique because of all the different strategies that we've played a part in building. So just to be able to go, all right, here's how much money I have, here's all my goals, whatever, go and do it. And the cool thing about this technology, which you may not be aware with blockchain, is you can move between these assets almost instantly at no cost. Okay. Right. So you can go the idea, not all of it's there just yet, but here's the concept, right? Your AI manager can go, all right, you're in some real estate over here. That's had a boom over the last 6 months. We're instantly going to sell some of your property and move it across to Bitcoin because we see that going up. Or we're going to move it back to Australian dollars because we see some risk in the market. So you're going to be able to get out of these investments instantly at nearly zero cost. So you're not going to be waiting months to sell a property, for example, anymore. So that's the shift that's happening in wealth creation, and we're hoping to kind of lead that with the tech that we're building.
So the AI trading bot that you have built, so it's the Breakout Solutions who's built the AI trading.
We're leveraging someone else's algorithm, but we've built the tech and the platform.
And it comes as part of your membership.
Correct, yeah.
So if anyone wants to be a member of Breakout Solutions, obviously you go through the strategy and then the trading bot comes as part of the membership.
Yeah, so we do events all the time. We do one on Monday. We're going to do another one in a few weeks. So people will come to that. I'll see, it's usually me presenting about different topics. Like one, I presented on the 3 hidden gaps holding people back from financial freedom. So I talk about a couple of things there. We might get into that. And so usually, they'll come to one of those. If they like what they see, they'll jump on. We've got kind of entry-level memberships. We've got higher tier ones. Just depends where people are at. Because some people come to us and they got $2,000. Some people come to me and they've got $500,000. So it's very, very in terms of, well, how can we try and support them? It just depends where they're at, really. Yeah.
I think you just answered the question that I was about to ask. But I'll twist it a little bit. A lot of people don't have a tech background. How do you make complex ideas like blockchain, crypto, and AI simple and actionable? You just explained it, but people with no tech background, and at the same time help them cut through the hype.
That's actually a good question. I'm glad you asked it because there is a lot of hype. There is a lot of dodgy stuff in this space. Unfortunately, there's a lot of good stuff, but unfortunately, most people hear about the bad stuff. So First and foremost, a lot of the stuff that we build. So I'm kind of the head of what we build. That's my zone of genius. You talked about before about employing and delegating people to do everything else. That's why everyone does everything else. And I'm just focused on creating, presenting, that kind of stuff. I love it. So I build stuff for me first because I'm busy now, involved in 8 companies. I don't have time to sit there trading anymore like I used to. So I use my experience in software development and automation with the teams that I work with, combining different platforms, connecting them together and building stuff for me. So I test everything. I put all my money at risk. Everything happens through me. And then if something works and we think it's good, whatever, we'll say, all right, well, here's the research we've done here. Up to you guys if you want to use it. So the idea is that we focus on hands-off strategies or as automated as possible. Now, there's always a bit of setup to get in there. So we usually help people over Zoom sessions. There's a few Zoom sessions. We help them get them all set up and everything else, set them all up on all the reporting, teach them how to do stuff. And then after that, we've got some members that literally don't look at anything. They just come back to us 6 months later and they're like, oh, I want to take, 50 grand of profit today. Mm-hmm. And so, oh, we better help you do that. So you don't have to be tech savvy to do it the way we do it.
Sure.
There's lots of people out there teaching how to do successful crypto investing, and it's all very valid, but you do need to put in a lot of time and you do need to have some tech experience. Otherwise, it's just not possible. A lot of our members don't have that, or if they do, they just don't have the time. And so it's a combination of how we present our course content and how we guide them through setting things up, and as well as the main thing is the fact that most of it's automated. Okay. That's really the key difference. I can't really speak on behalf of how other people do it, but that's how we approach it.
Because I always like to speak with who are non-techie.
Yeah.
It's always, so I come from a background where my dad is a businessman, no tech background. He doesn't understand AI. And I always think from his spectacles how he can do things. So if we can make things easier for those people, and people coming from old school, they might have a lot of money, but they do not know how to invest it, and they think things are a little techy. They do not want to step in because they're old school. And this is why I always like to talk from their lenses, that how can we make it easier for them?
Correct.
And if you have done that, I think it's going to be really easier for them. If someone comes to you after 6 months saying, oh, now I want to withdraw some money, that means nothing is required for him or to do anything.
Yeah. And that's a lot of like our age demographic for our members is definitely over 40 and potentially mostly over 50, I'd say. Yeah. And there's an even mix between males and females. And I noticed on the female front, it's a lot of women that haven't been empowered financially. And so the man's always done everything. And some of them are now widows as well. Like a lot of clients are widows and they're just like, oh, I don't know what to do. Don't have it alone to do anything. So this is why we've moved a lot more into wealth education now. So we're doing mindset coaching, money management coaching, because what I found was making money using some of these strategies is actually easy. Holding it and not spending it on stupid stuff is a lot harder from what I've observed. So a lot of people are brought up with limiting money beliefs. So a big part of our workshop, like on the weekend, is busting those beliefs. Because, you can make some more money, but if you don't feel like you're worthy of it, or you deserve it, or you believe then you're going to fall back down to this level. And we've seen it happen a number of times where people just go and self-sabotage their wealth after creating it. And it wasn't until I started really having to dig in and go, why did you do that? And then it's, and then you eventually kind of comes out. Most people are not even aware of it. It's subconscious. So that's why we're going a lot into that space now, because I've realized that the educational component around wealth is actually, and the mindset particularly, is so much more important than the actual investment strategy, which is not where I started. I'm a geek. I'm a maths guy. It's all about the numbers, but it's not. It's actually all about here and here. Yeah.
That's good. So you're using a lot of heavily AI into your business these days.
Yeah, big time.
Which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
So let's get into your goal, which I spoke about in your introduction. Was you've set a bold goal, helping 1 million people achieve financial freedom by 2032, which is 7 years from now. What does that freedom look like? And how do AI, automation, and decentralization fit into that bigger vision?
What that looks like is different for every person. Financial freedom is a buzzword. The mission's actually financial sovereignty, but we've used financial freedom and stuff before. It's changed. So what you read probably said financial freedom, but we've changed it since then. Haven't updated it. It's different for everyone, right? And so the best way I can explain that is the process that we do in our 2 half-day workshop that we just did is we're leveraging an application, we're leveraging AI, and all I do is facilitate them to go through a process. They do a survey. Where are they now? Where do they want to be? We've got something called the Financial Freedom Ladder, which is 6 steps on the ladder. Where are they now? Where do they want to be? What does that look like? What does it feel like when they're in their ideal life? What are they doing? And it's all about quantifying, again, where they are now, where they want to get to. We actually give them a formula that works out how long it's going to take them to get there now, which is anywhere usually between 10 and 300 years. And then it's a case of, all right, well, how can we help you get there faster? And that's the whole premise of the workshop. It's them designing what financial freedom means for them. So I can't explain kind of what that means. The best generalization that I use is to have enough money that you can do what you want with your life without being unencumbered and without having to work. So that just means something different for everyone. And what are they doing with their money and who are they spending time with, whatever. How AI plays into that, I mean, that's a lot about what we're doing now, right? It's about, so the AI trading bot being a strategy in that, the AI wealth manager that we want to build. So we want to make it so easy that once they go through the workshop and they create their plan, and the idea is not even to need a workshop eventually, it'll all be online, but they'll create their plan, it feeds it into the machine, and then the AI will then work out where to invest and how to manage it and whatever. So I want the whole thing to be 100% automated. That's a big step from where we are today. But in the last few years, after I've seen how powerful AI technology is and how fast it's moving and how much it's automating everything else, I now know it is possible, and I want to build it. Of course, we want to build it. So it's leveraging all of that. Does someone need to embrace AI and blockchain to create financial freedom? They don't. But I'm trying to make it so that when they do it using the tools and strategies and applications that we have, that they'll be able to do it faster than they thought was possible, hopefully faster than any other way, and with as least input and friction as possible. Yeah.
So you are leveraging AI in your business to give automation to your clients so their work can get faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's mostly focused around personal wealth creation now.
Yeah.
But like the app that I built for the Freedom Planner, that just uses a step framework that leverages ChatGPT custom agents to just create a workflow. So I am actually now generalizing that into a general app that any business can use to create very specific workflow automation. So I definitely want to move into business automation, business streamlining and stuff like that. It'll probably be a segue from individuals who now have, see, this is what we're finding now that we have some people that are making enough money that they don't need to work, they're like, well, what do I do? Right? Because having money is not enough for happiness. I mean, there's a saying that says money doesn't buy happiness, but I do think that's misconstrued. I think money solves a lot of problems. And I think all it does is exaggerate who you are. If you're an asshole, you become a bigger one. If you're amazing, caring, and giving, you become more of that. But, if you're earning enough money where you don't need to work, you need to have something. You need to have some purpose. Where you're going to get fulfillment from. So I'm noticing that as being maybe the next challenge that some of our members have. So that's where I'd like to kind of now pivot to the next thing, which will be, okay, well, how do we help you find your passion and deliver that? And there are lots of people doing that. Like how I like to do things, we'll just have our own flavor on it.
Okay. So it's AI can automate things for you, and then humans can leverage doing learn their passion or move into their passion, what they like to do, while AI is doing your job.
I think that's where we're going, right? I think that's where we're going. And if you can leverage it to create enough income where you don't have to worry about working, or you can subsidize it, I mean, that's an amazing place to be. And, there's so much freedom at that point that then I know that people are going to get lost at that point as well. Now, if they've got families and whatever else, maybe that keeps them busy, but you've got to have something, and maybe some people are just playing golf and doing stuff like that. But a lot of people need something that has meaning, right? Otherwise, you're living an unfulfilled life.
Yes, that's good. So AI can give you a lot of space, a lot of time to actually look after yourself, maybe follow your own passion that you haven't done, or maybe read a book, something to do for yourself. As I say, if you have time, when we give you a lot of, when we automate things for you, go out jogging, go to the gym, spend time with kids. If you do not have kids, go out, travel, and it gives you a lot of sanity within yourself.
I think that's a really good way of framing it. I don't know what you guys are doing, and it's amazing. So I think taking time away from working and putting into your health, I think, is the biggest thing that I was forced to do it because I had that breakdown and I had to rebuild myself. And now healthy living and fitness and everything's been a part of my life ever since. But if I didn't have that catalyst, I don't know where I'd be. So I encourage people to find their own catalyst for it. Get into the gym, work out, eat well. Because who was it, Gandhi, that said what surprised him most about man? And it's basically like we work our ass off, we lose our health, and then we use the money that we made to try and recuperate our health. So we spend our whole life just going nowhere and never really enjoying our life, right? So that struck a nerve with me when I first heard that. So I try and bring some balance. But look, I mean, I'm a workaholic, like I'm sure many people are going to watch this. So it's just about finding somewhere to slot in. I just slot in my exercise here, there. Usually it's the first thing that goes into my calendar and everything else goes around it. And if I don't exercise now for a couple of weeks, my whole body and mindset and just well-being just starts to deteriorate very quickly.
Yeah, so it's very important for you to keep yourself healthy, automate things so you can keep yourself healthy. When people ask me, what do you do? I'm like, we give you time to go to the gym.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
Automate.
Yeah.
We make AI so easy for you in the business that it will start automating things for you while you can have some time for you to hit the gym, run, play your favorite sport, which keeps you healthy.
Yeah, love it. Brilliant.
So what tech trends excite you most right now, since you're a techie? And in the next 2 to 3 years, how much of a role will human decision making still play in an increasingly automated world?
Good question. So look, for me personally, it's the intersection of blockchain and AI that excites me the most. That's obviously what we've been talking about, and creating that AI wealth manager that automates everything. Outside of that being my focus, I just think generally where AI is being leveraged. Like I do present a fair bit on AI as well. I get asked a lot about it. And, one of the things that I've been saying for probably a year now is there'll be 2 types of businesses by 2030, those that use AI and those that don't exist. Now, I think I first said that 12 months ago. Now, for me, it's 2027.
Oh, wow.
It's not 2030 anymore. Just everything's moving so fast.
So fast. Oh.
I was at a lunch with Matt Moran and a group at one of his restaurants, and there was a Q&A at the end. And I said, how's AI affecting your industry? And he goes, we're using it back of house a little bit and whatever else, but that's about it. And I said, well, don't you think it's going to start disrupting the kitchen? Like the dishwashers and the chefs eventually? Yes. He goes, no, it's never going to be replacing chefs. And I'm like, are you sure? I reckon within 5 years, there'll be robotic chefs in kitchens, and now it'll be a human experience to go to a restaurant that has a person. And he laughed at me. And so did half the room. Someone sent me a video 1 month after that. This was 6 months ago of a robotic chef that cooked a Michelin star meal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 6 months ago. It's already in prototype. It's already built.
Wow.
There was a video of a robot doing that. Now, it's not in a kitchen and doing it by itself, but if it's already like that now, how long is it going to take before it's in kitchens? Not that long. So I think the level of disruption is coming so quickly that the majority of people don't have any idea. I think you're going to get to now I'm building software myself now. And now I think the next evolution is going to be proper AI employees, having employees that will just run those jobs. I don't think that's too far away. Maybe 6 months to 2 years or something, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have a one-person company, $1 billion company run by one person at one extreme. And at the other extreme, you're going to have people who can't get a job for $15 an hour because they go to get a job at a restaurant and it's all automated. So you're going to see this massive divide. So I actually think the challenges that are ahead of us are far greater than what a lot of people understand. And that worries me. And I try not to go down that rabbit hole. And I don't watch Black Mirror anymore for a reason. So that part definitely concerns me. However, look, personally, that's not a space that I feel like I can contribute to a lot of this stage. So I'm focused around, well, how can we leverage AI to help us, to help our members, and then kind of branch out from there? Like, what are all the great things that we can get from it? We've talked a lot about that here today. So I think our role as humans in the evolution of AI is critical. And the bit that concerns me is it's a race to the top at the moment. It's a case of who's gonna win the large language model race, or who's gonna win this, who's gonna win that. And I fear that greed may drive that to the point where, safety precautions and safety processes and all that kind of stuff, I feel like is going to get left behind a little bit. So I definitely think human involvement is absolutely critical as we evolve, this intelligence, and where is it going to go when it gets to, general intelligence. I think it's critical. And I definitely am a little bit concerned about where it's going. Yeah. So there's, every technology has it's just a tool, and everything has a positive and a negative. Yeah. And so I think human involvement is going to be incredible. In terms of the automation side of it, I see it as the ultimate combination is AI, automation, and humans. And so the tool that I've been working on, and so the Freedom Planner app at the moment, as one application of it, there's 12 steps. 6 of them have human inputs, 6 of them have outputs. Yeah. Everything needs to be checked and whatever else. So I think it's a combination of the human and the AI that gets the best results. In time, as people evolve how that automation works, there'll be less and less human involvement. So I think a lot of things will become completely automated, and then it'll be a case of just human oversight. Make sure that it's not going off the rails, it's not voiding any security procedures and stuff like that. So overall, I'm very excited and positive about it, but I'm also like, I'm quietly optimistic or quietly pessimistic. I'm kind of in that middle where I'm just like, we just got to see where this goes. And I think as a race, we need to be very mindful of that, because the last thing we want is, the Terminator type thing, and create something that turns around and works out that doesn't need us anymore. So yeah, that's, I think we have to be very careful about that.
I think why I would like to add something to this, it's still human plus AI, even if the chefs have been replaced in the restaurant out there. It's the human creation which feeds into the robot what is the recipe looks like. So still humans will be involved. The robots or the AI will be doing your manual tasks, but still your creativity, because every time a recipe is changing. If it's the Michelin star restaurant, they are changing it every day to make their, customers happy. So it's still something a human needs to feed into AI. So always do not let AI lead you. It's the human who will lead AI, and always leverage AI to lead AI. Do not let AI lead you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. And I think human experiences are going to become the premium. Yes. So we're still doing most of our presentations online, but I've recognized that we need to be doing in-person ones, or at least hybrids, because I think that's going to become like the new boutique thing. It's like going to a restaurant. Oh, it's got a human chef.
Yes.
Or I'm going to an event. Oh, there's actually a real person presenting the event. So I think that human touch is going to become prized and really desired, right? And I think a large monetary opportunity is going to be there for people that step into that. And I think authenticity as well, because a lot of stuff online can be faked already. Yes. So there's going to have to be ways that we can prove authenticity online. I actually think that's where blockchain is going to come in as well. So I think if there's a way that you can come out of your shell, come out from behind the business and actually come to the front, because a lot of people buy people now. They don't buy companies. And so your personal brand is incredibly important. And I think that's only going to become more important as all this automation becomes, like, everything gets commoditized. A lot of stuff's getting commoditized. Yeah.
So we're almost coming to an end. What's next for Breakout Solutions? Any big initiatives or tools that you want to talk to?
Yeah, so probably just what I've touched on already, right? So, I mean, we're running workshops to 10, 20 people a month. I'd love to be running them to 100 to 200. So the next thing is about, now that we have an amazing flow, amazing products, services, memberships, education, it's just about getting ourselves out there a lot more. And my focus is on the 8 different businesses and projects that I'm involved in, which all have a tech flavor in it, and combining all of that to achieve our mission. So Breakout Solutions is like the core of all of that. It's where the education is, the research, everything that happens outside is designed to come back to benefit the members that are within it. So it's really exciting for me, because I get to work on all these amazing projects. leverage my creativity, and then bring it together and then present and deliver it as well, which is another thing that I love doing. So it's just more of the same. And a lot of this technology is all merging into that AI wealth manager that I spoke about. Mm-hmm. So the next thing that we're looking at is now, how do we automate the ability to get people's money from their bank account mm-hmm. into, say, the AI trading bot, for example, because there's still barriers to that now. Like, it takes time. You've got to set up account, then you got to KYC, and then you got to onboard your funds. You got to put it here, set up a wallet. There's like 10 steps to go from, all right, you've got 20 grand in your bank account now. How do you get that into a strategy that you can compound at 100% a year? So we're now, there's a platform we're working on now to basically, it's going to be a few bits of technology that comes together to automate that whole thing. Okay. So for example, you could just set up a recurring transaction inside your account to say every Monday, send, $500 into my wealth creation machine, mm-hmm. and it goes in, maybe buys a bit of Bitcoin, puts some in AI trading, or puts some over here, and just automates the whole thing.
Okay.
So I think, because the thing is, people want to do this stuff, or when they realize they want to do it, now it's just taking action. Mm. And so the more friction that you can remove out of that process, and this goes for any business or any service that anyone's offering, the more friction that you can remove from that, and the easier you can make for someone to do it, especially ongoing, if there's a way to automate any of it, then they'll do it. Mm-hmm. And then all you got to do is focus on, how do I get them set up? Okay. Rather than, they have to get into a routine of having to do everything every week. That's where I see a lot of people fall over with routines in life, let alone business, is they've got to do something every single day or every single week. It's hard to maintain that.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that particular solution. Cool. And I really want to get into Bitcoin now after listening to your stories.
My job's done.
Yes, your job's done. And finally, when you hear the phrase AI in focus, what does it mean to you personally and professionally?
AI in focus. Yeah, I love that. I love that when you invited me to speak. That was the first thing that stood out. So personally, for me, this is the fastest moving train I've seen in my lifetime, and I've been a part of a lot of technology advancements even in my short life. And I think, obviously the internet, and then we had blockchain, and there's a whole bunch of things that have happened along that way. AI for me is the biggest thing that humans have invented to date. So for me, it's about AI is like how do I put it? It's like the standard. It's the benchmark. So anything else that I'm working on, I'm always like, okay, well, do I want to be working on this? How does this relate to leveraging AI? For me, it's all about leveraging AI and blockchain to create freedom. That's my whole thing, right? So anything that I'm working on, it's like, okay, well, is this more important than AI and blockchain, particularly AI? And most of the time it's not. So it's either like someone else has got to do that, I got to say no to it, or I've got to focus on staying focused in AI. So that's what it is for me personally. Business-wise, everyone needs to have AI in their sites, right? And I just spoke about it. And it's not that AI is gonna take their business away. It's the next person along that's effectively leveraging AI that's gonna take your business away. Yeah. So I think everyone's got to be focused on it. And I know you guys spoke about it, so I listened to the first podcast. It's hard for people that are non-techie to know how the hell they're actually going to leverage AI. So it's one thing to know I've got to do it, but most people have no idea where to start and what to do. So I love what you guys are doing and how you're kind of helping people leverage it in a practical way to implement in their business, even starting with small feats and then building up from there. And that's the key thing, is find something that's small enough that you can do it successfully. Yes. Because you don't want to have a bad experience first off and then go, oh, you know what, it's too hard. Yes. Didn't work, whatever. Yeah. So I think, that's what it means to me personally and business-wise. And for me personally, it's kind of business. So it's all kind of blurred together anyway.
So where can our audiences find you, and what are the different masterclasses and speaking that you do, if you could tell them, and I can even mention that in the podcast, but if you could let audiences know.
So the website is just breakoutsolutions.com. You can Google me, Michael Hazilius, follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. We'll be doing another event probably in a couple of weeks. It'll be on the 3 gaps holding people back from financial freedom. And then that'll probably lead into our next workshop. So if you're interested in anything that we're doing, give me a follow. You'll see me talk about the next events, or contact us through the website. And look forward to seeing how we can serve you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode on AI in Focus. A huge thank you to Michael for sharing his journey from coding at age 11 to building Breakout Solutions, and leading the change toward financial freedom through digital assets and automation. I loved hearing his take on the financial matrix, the power of blockchain and AI, and how he's helping everyday Australians build wealth on their own terms. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to check out Michael's work at Breakout Solutions, especially their free workshops and digital asset strategies. It's a goldmine for everyone wanting to future-proof their finances using tech. And if you've got your own story about how you're using AI in your business or know someone who's doing something exciting, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment or send me a message to be a part of the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time for more real, honest conversations about AI in business.